Did you know that women produce up to 80% of the food in some regions of the world, but own less than 2% of the land? This staggering disparity has profound implications for food security and economic development. And so in this video, we're going to explore the gendered division of labor in food and agriculture, seeking to understand the ways in which the work of growing food reflects underlying power dynamics rooted in sex and gender. The gender division of labor in food and agriculture refers to the different gender roles and responsibilities assigned to men and women within the food system. This division is not natural or inherent, but instead reflects cultural norms, social expectations, and economic factors, and significantly impacts productivity, sustainability, and the overall well-being of communities. We see this gender division play out across the food system, including in production, preparation, distribution, and consumption. Women play a critical role in food production globally, especially in small-scale agriculture and subsistence farming. According to data from the Food and Agriculture Organization, women produce more than half of the food grown worldwide. In developing countries, this figure is even higher, with women responsible for between 60 and 80% of food production, depending upon the country. But despite their significant contributions, women often face numerous challenges that hinder their productivity. In many countries, women still lack secure tenure rights with limited control over land. This can be amplified when inheritance laws, cultural customs, and traditions favor men. Insecure land tenure can deter women from making long-term investments in the land, leading to lower levels of productivity in agriculture. Further, and especially when they lack secure title to the land that might be used as collateral, women face barriers in accessing credit, loans, and financial services, hindering their ability to purchase inputs like improved seeds, fertilizers, and farm tools and equipment, and other inputs which might enhance crop yields and farm productivity. Women are often excluded from agricultural training and extension services, missing out on valuable knowledge and information to enhance their farming practices. Cultural norms may restrict women's ability to attend sessions conducted by male trainers, and extension services are often designed with men in mind and may not address the specific needs of women farmers. Women also face a variety of constraints on their time and labor that men do not. Women juggle multiple roles, including household chores, childcare, and farming, often leaving themselves with less time to dedicate to agricultural activities. And the tasks most often performed by women, including planting, weeding, and harvesting, tend to be more labor-intensive, time-consuming, and physically demanding, and are less likely to be mechanized than work performed by men. Women are disproportionately responsible for the preparation and processing of food in both domestic and industrial settings. In most cultures around the world, women have been seen as the primary caregivers and homemakers, bearing the bulk of the responsibility for household reproduction. According to research by the International Labor Organization, women perform about 3/4 of all unpaid household labor, the cooking, cleaning, laundry, and especially the childcare necessary to maintain the household. In the United States, women spend an average of 2.6 hours per day on housework and caregiving compared to 2 hours for men. And this figure widens significantly for couples with children, as women often take on the majority of childcare responsibilities in addition to housework. Rather than being recognized as valuable economic work, this extensive labor is often unpaid and considered part of women's domestic duties. This lack of recognition perpetuates gender inequalities and undervalues women's contribution to household food security. It also contributes to a time poverty, where the time and energy spent in food preparation and household reproduction leaves women with less time for rest, leisure, education, or other income-generating activities than their male counterparts might have. In the formal food industry, women are overrepresented in low-wage and labor-intensive jobs in the food processing and food service industries. Women in these industries often face exploitation, discrimination, and unsafe working conditions, and lack access to social protection, fair wages, and opportunities for advancement. And as in other industries, women face wage disparities, often being paid less within the same job category than their male counterparts. All of which highlight the gendered division of labor in terms of preparation, which has not just economic impacts, but can affect women's physical and mental health as well. The gendered division of labor in food and agriculture is also seen in food distribution and marketing phases, where men and women occupy distinctive roles and face different opportunities and constraints. Here, a sharp distinction emerges between formal and informal agricultural markets. In the formal sector, men disproportionately hold leadership positions and decision-making roles in large agribusinesses, including multinational corporations and export-oriented enterprises. They control resources, negotiate contracts, and determine the production and marketing strategies employed. Men dominate the international trade of agricultural commodities, representing their countries in trade negotiations and shaping global food markets. And they're often overrepresented in managerial and executive positions in wholesale and retail food businesses, controlling supply chains and influencing consumer choices. Women, on the other hand, are more likely to participate in informal food markets, selling produce, processed foods, and prepared meals at local markets, roadside stands, and through street vending. Because of their exclusion from formal markets, women are often forced to rely on informal networks and social connections to sell their products within their communities. And even when they can engage in the formal economy, women may face discriminatory practices in formal markets such as lower prices for their products, exclusion from certain markets, and unfair contract terms. This unequal distribution of economic power and resources perpetuates gender disparities in income, wealth, and economic opportunity. Finally, the gender division of labor in food and agriculture extends to the consumption of food, where societal norms and expectations dictate how food is distributed and consumed within households, leading to significant gender disparities in nutrition and health. Gender norms and expectations can significantly influence food choices and consumption patterns within the household. Cultural and societal norms often dictate what types of food are considered appropriate for men and women. For instance, men might be encouraged to consume more meat and protein-rich foods, while women might be expected to eat lighter, more feminine foods like fruits and vegetables. In many societies, men's food preferences are given greater importance, reflecting broader patriarchal values that prioritize male needs over female needs. These norms can be deeply ingrained and vary across cultures. Women are often expected to prioritize the nutritional needs of their families, particularly their children. They typically take on responsibility for ensuring that the family members receive balanced and nutritious meals. And in times of food scarcity, women may sacrifice their own nutritional needs to ensure that their children and other family members have enough to eat, often leading to malnutrition and health problems for women in the household. All of these are symptoms of the gendered division of labor in food and agriculture, and they're primarily the result of traditional conceptions of men's and women's roles in food production. In most societies around the world, particularly in pre-industrial societies, men were disproportionately involved in tasks that required heavy physical labor, such as plowing, planting, and harvesting of crops. These activities often involved the use of machinery or draft animals, which were historically seen as tasks suited to men due to their physical demands. Men also typically managed livestock, such as cattle and horses, especially those raised for sale or heavy work. And in many circumstances, men held the decision-making power regarding agricultural practices, crop choices, and resource allocation. And in most societies, these roles were considered higher status or more visible. The state also paid greater attention to this work, investing in technology to improve productivity, supporting it through access to credit and extension services, and so on. The work performed primarily by women, on the other hand, was viewed as private and thus outside the interest of the state. This included the vast majority of work performed by women like food processing, including activities like grinding grains, milking cows, and preserving food and managing household tasks and the preparation of daily meals. Women often took care of kitchen gardens and small livestock like poultry, which were crucial for household food security and were thus seen as extensions of their domestic responsibilities. And in subsistence farming systems, where the primary goal was to produce enough food for the family, women played a crucial role in ensuring food availability. Their knowledge of local plants, seeds, and traditional farming methods was essential for maintaining food diversity and security. Over time, these roles have evolved. The mechanization of agriculture reduced the need for physical labor. In some places, this allowed women to participate in more tasks that traditionally were male-dominated, increasing women's involvement in all stages of agricultural production. But in others, it reinforced gender divisions, leading to a further demarcation between male and female work in agriculture. Advances in agricultural technology, including improved seeds, fertilizers, and irrigation methods, changed the dynamics of farming. However, such technologies often had an uneven impact. Indeed, in many cases, investment and innovation focused on male-dominated activities and crops like cash crops for export, frequently ignoring the household gardens and vegetables grown by women. Men's migration to cities for employment has left women with increased responsibilities on farms. This phenomenon has led to the feminization of agriculture in many regions, where women now manage both household and agricultural duties. Global market demands influenced local agricultural practices, with women increasingly participating in producing cash crops. However, they often face challenges in accessing markets and negotiating fair prices. Women's participation in formal labor markets has increased, leading to shifts in household labor dynamics and agricultural roles, and highlighting the need for policies that address the dual burden of both domestic and agricultural work often carried by women. Over time, access to education and agricultural training for women has improved, empowering them to adopt modern farming techniques and to take on leadership roles in agricultural communities. And finally, governments and NGOs have implemented policies and programs aimed at supporting women in agriculture, providing them access to credit, land rights, and agricultural inputs specifically tailored to women's needs. The gender division of labor in agriculture has thus evolved significantly over time, reflecting broader socioeconomic and technological changes. While traditional roles persist in many regions of the world, the increasing involvement of women in diverse agricultural activities and their empowerment through education and policy interventions are reshaping the landscape of agriculture globally. Addressing remaining barriers and supporting women's full participation in agriculture is crucial for achieving food security and sustainable development. But that's it for now. As always, please leave any questions you have in the comments section below, and thanks for watching.